So yesterday we looked into the finer aspects of noting on the objects of walking and sitting. In the sitting and the walking, as I said, there's primary and secondary objects. But all objects, whether they are secondary or again primary, then whenever they are prominent, they are always important. That means to pay attention to them thoroughly, precisely, clearly. The reason I talk about this is because sometimes yogis tend to take up single object because of the confusion with samatha meditation. I have the idea that they bring the whole idea of samatha meditation into a vipassana and thinking that the vipassana also taking up a main primary object and secondary object are not important. Secondary objects, they are not important. So with that idea, then during the meditation, vipassana, they get a very difficult progress, very when we go out of the whole meditation. In the sitting or in the walking, or in the sitting, I mentioned that there are some objects, sometimes prominency may not just come one thing at one time for you to see. Sometimes they may come at one go, like a few pain coming together, or few sensation coming together, like rising, falling, or some sensation and here and there. They might all come together for some time, for a while. Then after that, as I said, whenever one object becomes more prominent than the other one, then you take up that object, and then you put the rest on the at the background. Prominency doesn't stay there for long. Prominency also means that it changes. That means one object can be more prominent at one time, but it only lasts you for maybe 10-15 seconds or half a minute. Then another object comes in. Then while you're paying attention, again another object becomes clear. So here and there. Again here, sometimes yogi thought that, just because you don't pay attention to the object precisely, therefore I don't think I'm going anywhere. But that again is not true, because the nature of vipassana is to see changes, to see how they change. And part of the change is also falls under thorough, clear, or precise noting, although the object only lasts for and there. So don't despair. At times, object doesn't last long for you to so-called penetrate. So it shows its different character, and therefore you have to see them as they are, not as what you think you want or what you think is right. So a lot of times in so I said you must learn to trust your mindfulness. You have to learn to trust your mindfulness or whatever that is presented right in front of you, rather than what you think it's supposed to be. What we think, sometimes a lot of our thinking, a lot of concept may not be totally correct, but whatever is, that is the one that is correct, as long as the mindfulness is there. And also, like in the walking meditation, I also mentioned, sometimes we cannot only note the primary object in the lifting, pushing, dropping, or right step, left step. Sometimes they are not clear. Or sometimes even they are clear, but you are not so interested. And there may be, at times, the mind starts to run here and there. That means the mind is not so interested in noting anymore of the object. You are just waiting for the time, for the top of the hour only. Then you want to go to sitting. Yeah. So that means the mind is not fully paying attention to. Therefore, this is the time for you to look for secondary objects. Take up the secondary objects like the hips, the walking, the knees. There are so many parts of the body are moving. So because of that, of their movements, then you pay attention to them. Then the mind stays without walking. The mindfulness prolong. The mindfulness become continuous. It deepens also. So in the walking meditation, don't think that walking meditation cannot lead you to nibbana. Some people thought that only sitting can go. Walking is just a backup. No, walking is a meditation on its own. It's a real proper. It's a walk. I mean, it's a really walking meditation on its own. Whatever you can notice in the sitting, you can notice in the walking. Whatever you can notice in the walking, you notice in the sitting. Yeah. Because after all, let's say in the body, sitting also you have all these elements: wind element, fire element, this element, that element. Same thing. In the walking, you think you have something else. No, it's still the same thing. But why can't we see the true nature of it? Because we don't pay attention to them properly, clearly. So you must regard the walking meditation as something important. Hopefully, by this retreat, I've drilled that walking meditation into your skull. Because some of us, when you begin, you don't like walking meditation. You just want it to then walk everywhere as you like, And hopefully by now, the thing is that not only I can drill it in, but the thing is that I want you to see it for yourself. You see it yourself, then only you have that deeper faith, rather than just whoever spoke about it. Now, this is the area that we have to pay attention as the mind goes deeper into it. Tonight, we're going to talk about another important aspect for the yogi. And it's a final aspect. Last week, I mentioned about mental trappings, that you'll fall into traps of vipassana. We fall into the traps of vipassana and think that we are still in the right path, on the right path. We think that we are still right, and yet actual vipassana has gone way out. Last week I mentioned something like sometimes yogi, when they become very peaceful, they meditate until calm and nice, and then they sit there, rising, falling also gone, pain not there, very pleasant, very soothing. All your aches and tiredness, even your tiredness, or your sleepiness, drowsiness, thinking, all gone. You just sit there. So wonderful. You're not asleep. You know what is going on. Yeah? You know what is going on. And yet, yogis sometimes they thought that they are still in vipassana. But they are not. They are just peaceful. They're just peaceful, calm, nice, pleasant. And every time, every sitting, day after day, they'll be looking for. They will not look for pain, sleepiness, thinking, planning, drowsy, 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 rising, falling, this pain, that pain. They're not going to look for to all of them because they found something that they can hold on to or they feel very good. One of the things is that because this one of the example is this peacefulness. Because out there you cannot have those things. You cannot have those things. Where can you get so nice, peaceful when you're working? Impossible. Even you go for your vacation and all that thing, no, you don't have those things. It's only when you come to a meditation, then only you feel it. Yeah. And the thing is that this one, the thing that I'm going to tell you afterwards, it belongs to meditators. Yeah. You see, now, the things that I'm going to mention, also actually I mentioned in the last retreat here in Houston. Yeah. And also I mentioned also in the previous retreat. I was thinking this retreat, since I mentioned it in the past, well, I can always go for another topic. But the thing is that there are yogis got trapped into it. As well talk about it again. Now in the Pali word, it's called Vipassana Upakilesa. Vipassana Upakilesa. You know what the word kilesa? Kilesa means defilement. But the word in front of it, upa, UPA, upakilesa, it means near, a near defilement. Is the practice of the insight meditation that comes with that near defilement. And the near defilement is not your sleepiness, drowsiness, is not your doubt, skeptical doubt, and that we covered a bit on that. That is actual defilement. That is near defilement. It is concerning with your practice. Concerning with your practice. And the actual thing that you build up upon, that mindfulness you build up upon, that concentration you build up upon, that wisdom factor you build up upon, that faith, that confidence that you build upon, that if you take them wrongly, it becomes called Vipassana Upakilesa. Now, before we explain it a little bit more, there are 10 things that's mentioned in the commentary in the text. Now, there are 10 things. What are the 10 things? Number one is lights or aura or brightness of the mind. Number one is that aura, brightness. Number two is that joy. Joy here we can translate as from Pali word is piti, P-I-T-I. Joy, excitement, interest, zest, as you like, whichever English word you like. Sometimes I use the word joy. Some yogis write Bhante, the word joy is not good. Use zest. So I use zest. Joy is better. They are so interested in the translation. So we have presented it there. Yeah. So it comes in as like your excitement or happiness, or not. You don't call it happiness. We call it excitement. We call it like interest. We call it like the zest that the mind is energetic also in a way. This is called piti. Then you have one, sukha. Sukha here is different from piti. This is pleasant feelings of the mind. Pleasant feelings of the mind. Whereas piti is actually grosser. Bliss or the sukha, it is finer. It's even finer compared to the joy. Yeah? And that is falls under Vedana, under feelings, the sukha. Whereas joy or piti falls under sankhara in the five aggregates. Yeah? The fourth aggregate sankhara, or in the Abhidhamma falls under cetasika. Whereas this one is pleasant feeling sukha. No? Then you have also next one, number 4, right? Number 4 is resolution. Yeah, what do you have right now? Where's my paper? Somewhere. Correct not? Yeah, no, wait. Not. Yes. Number 3 is number 4. Not resolution. This is the next one. Tranquility. Tranquility. The Pali word is passaddhi. The word is passaddhi. We translate tranquility. Now, tranquility and peace, yeah, tranquility and sukha, they are different, but they are very difficult for you to, to separate them. Again, here, tranquility here, what it means that the mind is very quiet. Yeah, the mind is quiet, but still alert now. But it's quiet. Quiet from what? Quiet from all the mental noise, like your chatting, thinking, thoughts, and everything gone. And this is something that if you have a lot of thoughts and suddenly the whole mind quiet down, don't you think you feel good about it? Tranquility. Yeah? Even when the tranquility comes in, you cannot even do labeling. But you can still note what, if you are doing correctly, you can still note what is going on. All the object. Some of the things that I mentioned, that tranquility, it falls under 7 factors of enlightenment. That means it's something that you need. And yet, if you do it wrongly, it becomes problematic. So tranquility. The next one, 5th one, resolution. Resolution is a strong faith. But the mind is very firm. That you are firm to practice, to firm everything. Your energy is there. So that is adhimokkha, resolution. And next, after resolution, what is resolution after that? Then you have exertion. Exertion here is the word pagaha, Paggaha. Now, exertion is not just only making effort. This time is a continuous effort. Your whole day, whole night, or whole day, whole time that your meditation, you feel very energetic. There's no such thing as you're sleepy, not clear, and all that thing. All these things, none. And the mind is very alert. Then the next one. Jnana here is the wisdom factor, or they translate as knowledge. But what actually happened is the mind is very penetrative. It can able to note every object very precisely. Give any object, whether mental or physical object, or whichever, how they interact and everything, it can notice them precisely, clearly. That is something that you have to develop carefully. Again, if you're not careful, they become somewhat a problem. Then the 8th one, upatthana. The word upatana, it's what we call strong, continuous mindfulness. You know what the word satipatthana? Yeah? So the upatana here means continuous mindfulness, not just sati only. Yeah? Sati, we look at it as correct, but this time is really in the process of practice, and the mind is very mindful throughout the whole day. Yeah? There's number 8. Number 9, upekha. Upekha here is equanimity. Equanimity doesn't mean that you do not know. Your mind, the mind is in a state of balance. Everything is in a state of balance. Nothing is too much, and the mind is super clear. Yeah? The tension and so on doesn't affect the mind. And number 10, only the number 10 is the defilement. And that number 10 is called delight or nikanti in the Pali. Nikanti, Nikanti, nikanti. Another word for tanha, craving. And this is not your out there, you like the food, you like this. These are very gross. Super gross already. But this one, the delight is so little. And that moment that delight comes in, it corrupts the vipassana. So sometimes this translation, vipassana upakilesa, is called corruptions of or imperfection of insight. Number 1 to number 9, they are not a defilement if they stand on their own. It's because of the number 10 that you delight upon them that everything turns into a problem. And mind you, this thing, if you not careful, it can years and years. You do not have the years. Some people I heard last 30 years later, then only they realize that they are not going anywhere. You have 30 years? We do not know. But if you're already like 60, 70, well, the chances are much lower. By the time you realize that something wrong, then only you realize you want to re-practice all over again. How are you going to have the energy at that time? You don't have the energy anymore. Now, take a look at a few of these things. So, here, according to the commentary, this 10 can become 30. Thing, but different defilements are attached to it. After I give you an example, just give you an idea how this thing works. Now, take for example the first one, lights. Lights or what? Aura or brightness. Sometimes you call it illumination of the mind, So, this time, let's say when you meditate, arises. Those things arises. And mind you, this type of things, this type of phenomena, all these things, even enlightened ones also have it. It's just that they don't attach to it. So when you don't attach to it, it's not upakilesa. Only because you attach to it. And this one also, as I said, belongs to a meditator. If you are not a meditator, you don't have this area. So, one. So the lights. Now, some of us, sometimes we sit down. Sometimes some yogis may see some clarity, brightness in the mind. Mm. And yesterday I said that, or the day before I said, the brightness is very helpful because when it comes, all your drowsiness and sleepiness all gone. Uh, and occasionally, this type of brightness, some yogis, the brightness stays longer for the yogi, and some yogis for a short while. And brightness also falls under like colors. Some yogis see certain color, some yogis see a multiple. Some yogis see white color, yellow color, blue color, whatever their color, whatever their inclination. Yeah? So all this we fall under what the Pali would call obasa, illumination, lights, aura, whatever. Yeah? Falls under that category. Now, these lights, this aura, and so on, then for some yogis, mistook it for something wonderful. They meditate. So they meditate, they sit down, the brightness come up. And the brightness becomes a prominent object. So they let go of all other objects. They take note of they're aware of the brightness. But sometimes the brightness also comes with pleasantness. It's not just it is unpleasant. Not all the time also it's neutral. Sometimes it's quite pleasant. And you sit there and you note the brightness. Wow, so bright. My mind is so alert right now. You still hear what is outside. Yeah? Then you just looking for that light. Every time you sit down. And you want to sit down. You walk a little bit, after that you want to go back to your light, to your brightness. And some people their light is just like a orb, you know, inside there. Some people is like a spread out light. So they get delight into it. They don't realize that they've been delighting into it. So they got inside there, they get delight into it. So every sitting, they keep looking for it. Not only every sitting, every retreat, they come back. You think they will look for rising and falling? No, they will go back to their light again. Yeah, they go back to their light, then sit there. Ah. And then retreat after retreat, they do like that. Day after day, they like that. And sometimes the problem is sometimes the teachers themselves also have that problem. Sorry to say, huh? And then they encourage yogis to do like that. They get caught in the light. They delight in the light. Yeah. Now, you don't realize that you get delight into the light, huh? Because the craving, the delight, it's even behind that light itself. So the light is already pleasant object, clear object, although they are clear but subtle. That craving is even further down. Now, when they do this thing again and again, this is the first defilement. Now, the second defilement will come together with it. The second type of defilement, it comes in as what we call the conceit. Conceit, mana. Means that, then the yogi start, I think that I'm a great yogi. Then they start thinking, they start thinking that I am a great yogi. I am a great yogi. Perhaps you see other yogis, they are still drowsy and so on. And because of that, they are not a good yogi. When I sit down there, all the lights coming in, I don't have. Also, yogi begin to compare to other yogis. You have light, you have light, you have aura, you don't have, no good. My meditation is good. You see the conceit? It expanded from your delight into the second type, conceit. And conceit connected to what? Connected to the lights again. So it already built up. So the yogi thinks that the yogi is better than other yogis because the yogi has that thing. So this is the second defilement that it comes in. The third defilement that comes in together. So again, the yogi get attached to the light again and again. Now, the third later part, the yogi will begin to believe. This is not thinking and this is not, but the yogi begin to believe that these lights are nibbana. Nibbana. Or these lights, if you do samatha meditation, these lights are jhana. Yeah. Even samatha meditation, you are not free from it. Doesn't mean that samatha meditation, there's no craving there. The craving is still there. It's just that whether you see it or not. So samatha is not as easy as you think it is. So vipassana, again here. Now vipassana, if you are a practitioner of vipassana, here when the wrong view, what do you mean by wrong view? Wrong view means that you already firm believe that this object, this light is nibbana. And you believe that, and yet actually the yogi has not gone very far. Or sometimes because of yogis, that yogi has been or being hurt, or he or she think about it, or reflect about it deeply, and then begin to believe that these are nibbana. The nibbana. Because out there, I don't see it. Here, when I come to meditate, these are so obvious. So obvious, it begins to call wrong. He can stick to it that this, he thinks that he's already enlightened, arahant, walking arahant already. Yeah? And they believe that, and it attached to it. And the thing is that here, when they attach to it, after some time, they think that they are arahant. Okay, now is the time for me to go out and spread the Dhamma. And they spread, they tell you, okay, now you meditate, you watch the light, you have the light, very good. You also nibbana. Then you also nibbana, you also nibbana, he also nibbana, she also nibbana. And then the whole generation get caught up with all this type of thing. And I've seen those things. I'm not making it up, actually. Because I move around in the world. I move in different vipassana. And sometimes, too bad, actually. Just too bad now. They don't see that the craving is there. And sometimes the teachers proclaim them to be enlightened. Proclaim them that this one is good, and so on. Too bad. And it's so difficult, actually. Sometimes I've met with yogis. Mind is not open anymore. No matter how you teach them, you tell them it is not. It's so difficult for them to undo. So difficult for them to disentangle all these things. And they don't realize that everything starts with that craving. So, first defilement, craving. Second defilement, conceit. Third defilement, wrong view. Times 10, 30 defilements. Wrong view. So you see, so therefore, when you practice, when the lights come in, what should you do? Just note it. Your job again is not to get rid of it. Your job again is not to get rid of it, neither you should welcome it. But it's of the practice it pops up, it comes up. Sometimes for some yogis, it comes up quite clearly. So when it comes clearly, your job as a Vipassana yogi, just note it. Lights, 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 color, 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 color. And when you do that, you don't get attached for it. Because when you note it, the mind uh, it comes out. It comes out from the out and just see the light and just as an object and you note it. Now, if you notice the lights or the aura or the color, if this light, let's say it comes in and it's not changing, it's just there. You note it, note it, note it, it's still there. And it's not doing anything, let's say. Now, if it happen in that way, as a yogi, is that you shift your attention back, shift back to the body and let the lights at the background because it's not no activity there. But unless the lights is sometimes like it's changing, it's moving from one thing, it's like it's getting brighter, dimmer, sometimes it's slightly different color, then pay attention for it for a while, aware of it. Just remind yourself, don't get attached to it. The light is not wrong. Sometimes when they hear this type of thoughts, this type of Dhamma talk, they thought that the light, we should not have lights, we should not have lights. That also is wrong. It is not that you cannot have lights. It's just that don't attach to it, to them. You get what I mean? And this is, you have to, again, this one also you have to drill it into your heart. Because you may not see it right now. Some yogis have seen it. You may not see it right now. But just to be careful when this, sometimes you just remind yourself, be careful, don't attach, just note. Yeah. Then is when you note them, they are not vipassana upakilesa. You see how fine the line is? It's just, if it's difficult to teach. Yeah, that's why the interview is important. And you do not know what the yogi is actually going through. Even they hear one thing, even I speak one thing, they have their mind process another thing. Yeah. As simple as possible, I think. As simple as possible. So here, all the thing that I'm going to mention, so on, another, they're all the same thing. It's just the different object is coming in. The process, how it builds from craving right to wrong view, they go in the same path. And they go in the same path. So in the Dhamma, you hear of tanha, mana, ditthi. Craving, conceit, and wrong view. These three always come together. Or not to say come, they progress. They progress in that way. Especially we'll see it in the Vipassana meditation. Now the second one is the joy, or piti, or zest. The Pali word is piti, P-I-T-I. Piti. Now this piti, this is like, for example, when you sit down, the joy comes up during in your meditation. Like when you see something new, sometimes the rising, falling, and suddenly it start moving another way. Wow, what is that? That your mind is like there and noticing what is going on. That is good. That is good. That is, in a way, is kind of piti. Sometimes when you do walking meditation, also the same thing. And you note something new, something clear, and the whole mind, it become excited, it become interested in the noting itself. That is piti. It comes in as piti, and it's good. But sometimes this piti can becomes more and stronger and stronger. And wait, I use the word piti. Don't use it in English. This is Pali. Piti. This is Pali. If not, what? Piti. It'll be very And this is in Pali. The word P-I-T-I. Actually, you pronounce as P-E-E-T-E-E. Piti. Not as a bit longer I, longer long I. Yeah, piti. Now, this excitement, this type of piti that arises when it becomes a prominent object, then sometimes it can affect the yogi's meditation too. Hmm? Say, for example, a yogi sit down, then he notice something vibrating, thing inside the body, vibrating. And then that vibration, that while he noted that vibration, then after that, the body, the physical body, starts to mimic the movement of that vibration. Yeah, say you look up, he sit down, he shakes with the body forward and backward. Because it's vibrating forward and backward, so it start go forward and back, then it go vibrate, then it starts shaking there, For some yogis, if the thing goes sideways, then it goes sideways, the body starts shaking, the body starts shaking, and yet it's delighting into it now. You delight into this one. So when that happens, actually you feel good because all your gone, all your aches and pain and tiredness all gone. And here, the more that you shake, the more happy you become. The more delightful that you become. Then you keep on shaking here and there, and the vibration, the actual vibration earlier that you pay attention to, it becomes a non-prominent anymore. It becomes the background because the body shaking to them, so much more clearer to them, and that momentum, because the interest is still there, the joy is still there, then they keep going. While they shake, they smile, happy. And then look at them. Oh my God. No. But again, here, sometimes you meditate together with other people. Doesn't mean that all the time shaking is because of pity. It could be one of the possible causes. Okay? But we don't judge it too much. I've seen while they shake, they keep on smiling and happy and so on, until when the body cannot control, then it become a problematic. I've seen yogis who cannot control, they start, they start like bouncing. They sit and can bounce. The whole body bounce up and down. Can you do that? They actually bounce and they actually move the bouncing and boom, 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 boom. Actually, they move because of the piti. You go long enough in the meditation world, you see all kinds of people. And this is just sat behind me while I was meditating. I was so delighted. And yet, we are sitting on the first floor, and there was staircase down there. We are afraid I bounce and then right to the stair. And then pity. They get so engrossed into it. Every time sit down, the body starts going around like that in the way. And the more they shake, the more they move, the more happy they become. Every time they sit down, they are going to look for that. Because at this time, no tiredness, no pain. The pain that you go through all these things suddenly all disappear because the body is moving. It's one of the how the piti arises. It arises. All your tiredness gone, all the drowsiness, the boredom and everything all gone. So one of the definition of piti, we call it refreshing the mind and body. It refreshes. If you do it in the right manner, when your mind get bored, nothing to see, then suddenly you notice something, the whole mind become alert, refresh the whole mind and body. Now the thing is that again here, there'll be times again many yogis will experience bodily movement, physical bodily movement, because again here, as I said, when your objects become clear, it can become very pushy. The wind element especially become very strong because you are magnifying everything. It's like it's going strong, and yet your body cannot hold it at times. Do right now. Again here, noting of it is important. While you're noting of it, at times you may find that your body starts moving. You start moving. Now, here will be good that you just open up your eyes for a while. Just keep that mindfulness there. Open up your eyes to see whether actually the body is moving or not. If the body is moving, then you make an intention to stop it. While you stop it, you back again to something that is moving inside there. Because there's always something that's moving inside there, and to make the whole body move. If you can able to locate it, that something is moving, then keep your body still, pay attention to that moving. Then that time you begin to note the object again, the vibration, whatever that is going on, so that keep the body still. So this time, make sure that you don't get delight in the movement itself. The delight in that movement, it can cause a lot of problem. So again here, because of that craving, because of that movement, some yogis think that they are great yogi. Other yogis doesn't move, I move. No, there are people who think distortedly. Again here, the conceit arises, and then they believe that this type of joy, this type of uh, uh, excitement, these are also like nibbana or deep practice, which actually they are not. Same thing. Same thing. So again here is to be mindful of those things. Then you have this, let's talk about tranquility. Now, tranquility, again here, is not something for a beginner to notice. Tranquility is also come in when that development. And there's some degree of mindfulness become more continuous and so on. Then at certain time, the meditation, the whole thinking mind, everything becomes quiet. Becomes quiet that all the thoughts, planning, concept, everything does not come in. Yet the mind is fully alert, fully clear of what is going on. The tranquility they translate as one of the characteristic is called removing the disquietude of the mind, if I pronounce it correctly. Disquietude, quietude of the mind, something like that. In other words, it removes all the thinking, all the noise, all your concept, all your planning, all your memory, everything quiet down. And what for some yogis will feel is it is peaceful. It is nice, it is peaceful because it's quiet. And that quietness is something for a lot of yogis who have a lot of restlessness. You love that. Every day thinking, so much thinking. When this thing come in, you just so nice, so peaceful, so restful inside there. And yet it's so easy for the mind to believe that you have gone somewhere. You have gone something deep. Yeah. Because that restless that it becomes a prominent factor. It becomes a prominent factor. You don't want to see your rising, falling. You don't want to see your sitting and touching. You don't want to see your pain. You just want that quietness. For hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, you can sit there. And you think that you are great yogi. Or others yogis, wow, you sit for 2 hours, wow, excellent, you must be a great yogi. Then your conceit become bloated bigger. It feels good, well, when somebody praise you for your 2 hours sitting or 3 hours sitting. But inside there, attachment is only that delight. There's nothing there anymore, it's just quiet. So again here, as a yogi, when this type of thing comes in, all you need to do, notice, is peaceful, 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 peaceful. As long as you note them, then again they are not a defilement. Even it's next time you note them, it stays there. Good, because it's so helpful for the meditation. To do is leave it at the background, bring the attention back again, noticing the body, noticing sensation. Everything becomes very clear. It becomes very clear because of the mind. It doesn't have all the thoughts and thinking and planning and the chattering and that background noise. That day, yesterday I said, while you're walking, then there's a bang or there was still a bit of sound. Here, when the tranquility comes in, it cuts off. Yet you can still feel at that time 100% clearly. Yeah. So, again, here it's a subtle aspect of the mind. It quiets the whole noise of the mind, the thoughts, and it pays attention to the object. And as long as you notice it carefully, notice it, tranquility, calm, peaceful, calm, 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 peaceful, 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 then well and good. Okay? Again, that one, if you're not careful again, that although it's a wholesome factor, sometimes yogi, especially when they finish their retreat, they go out there, they talk about their meditation practices. Oh, I feel so happy. I feel so nice. I feel so good. I feel so restful. Other yogis, no, they are also ignorant. They're not like, they're also in all that. I only have pain here, pain there, pain everywhere. You have all the restful. Wow, excellent meditation. You get caught into all these type of things, all these type of. So this is one area. This one of the most common things that I've seen in yogi. Some yogis are there. When they get caught, they caught in the tranquility actually. The next one is sukha. Sukha here is even more pleasant. I mean, it's really pleasant. This is a purified, a very clear state of feelings. Not your feelings that come from your senses, from your eyes, from your touch, from your whatever external worldly senses. Those are considered gross feelings. These considered a very fine feelings. And these feelings, this is, you never experience it unless you truly do the meditation. And this comes with the development of the mind, the feelings that comes in. So it's not all the time pain here, pain there. There'll be times that pleasantness is really, really beautiful. That one. That is also another area that it is so easy for the yogi to get attached. Now you see, just to give you an example, out there, all right? When we eat something nice, let's say, the joy is there. The joy is one thing. Feelings, pleasant feeling is behind it. So most of the time when we are eating and so on, we always notice the joy, that pity. We don't really see sukha. We don't see the pleasure behind. So sukha is difficult to notice. It's always that excitement, that interest is always gross. That one. So this time when meditation, at times that pleasant feeling arises. That pleasant feeling is like really kind of like really melts the heart in its true manner. Yeah? How is it like? You can meditate yourself. How 1,000 words I'm not able to describe the pleasant feeling. But when it comes, again here, remind yourself, don't attach to it. Pleasant, pleasant, pleasant. But for some yogis, this is considered calm. It's considered calm. It's okay. It's all right. You just label it as calm, 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 pleasant, 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 pleasant. As long as you notice it, it changes, then fine. If it doesn't change, bring again to the body. It will come, It will come to one way or another. So you pay attention to them, to this type of calmness. What else? What else? Resolution. Resolution because it arises because you can meditate. You can actually meditation. You can progress in the meditation. Yeah? Let's say that resolution comes in very strongly because you can able to develop. You have been doing for, let's say, some retreats, and then you've been progressing, and this time, wow, I feel it's good. Then while you're meditating, let's say, you start thinking, when I go back, all my friends and my grandmother and my grandfather and my father and my mother and my children, I want to drag them by the hair to come to meditation. You already start planning everything. You want to grab them everybody. I mean, because of that thing, you want that thing to, you want it to other also. So you start planning inside your mind. Because of that, it's due to the reason that you can progress in the meditation. You feel that something is great, then that thing comes in. Some people have that faith orientated. Now, then this time the faith oriented, for example, the resolution is there. Sometimes they meditate. The images that in the mind, it comes in like objects of faith. What do you mean objects of faith? For example, they sit there, then they meditate, the mind becomes so clear, they see the Buddha coming, the Buddha fly, they come right in front of them. Or you can see the face of the Buddha, so serene, so much faith there. I think I must be enlightened already, because the Buddha come to see me. There are people like that, There are people who meditate there, sit there. Then they see the Buddha flying, or they see the Arahants flying, Buddha flying there. They sat there for 8 hours. 8 hours sit there and just seeing this Buddha flying. You see? 8 hours. Fit to sit 8 hours, and yet not going anywhere. We are doing in the same meditation hall. Faith is there. Then sometimes I read in the book that some meditators, some monks, sorry to say that, the monks, they meditate and then they have this vision of objects of faith coming in. Objects of like the Buddha comes in. Buddha, they also interpret that the next one, Sariputta also come to see them. Whether they can know who is Sariputta, they just interpret as Sariputta and Moggallana, and the rest of the Arahants come and invite him to join the club. Join the club. Join what club? Arahant club. So you sit there, all the vision they come in, then they see all this vision, then they get up. Oh, here I am, enlightened Arahant. you walk with a kind of gaze, and you walk with a certain sense of that pride, not pride, a sense of very calm. And then sit down there like that, eating slowly, walk everywhere slowly. The eyes don't run here. Oh, because he believed that he. At one time, there are some yogis in the other meditation center. He meditates with this type of things arises. The teacher says that you are anagami already. Third stage of sainthood, third stage of enlightened, anagami. Before Arahant, the third one. So anagami. So the monk, that was he walks in that way. He carry his bowl very nicely, eyes don't look around, gentle, go to take food and everything. Wow, everybody's so I become anagami, After some months later, he become crazy. He became crazy. All the whole mind all gone. Then how the teacher is going to take back his words? Yeah. People come in to seek a spiritual path. They come in and seek a spiritual path, and yet sometimes we meet with this type of people, these type of teachers. They begin to proclaim that these yogis are enlightened, that yogis are this and that. Yeah? And a lot of times, really, they're not there yet on the trip. And too bad, sometimes yogis, without that much of wisdom, they believe that, I must be there already. I am because my teacher says so. It's not that simple. But anyway, what I'm saying is that this type of things, it can become very complicated, all because it starts from that meditation. That meditation, he grabs wrongly, he attached to all the craving, the delight, and so on. And become. I'll continue tomorrow a little bit more on this topic. And this one will even much more closer to you. And you got to be careful. Okay, we stop here for tonight.